Hi, my name is uVideo, and this is going to be my GDQ submission for New Super Luigi U any %. So, just to give a quick rundown before I start, this game is the DLC for New Super Mario Bros. U, and it features the same world map, it features the same boss fights, but every single level has been changed. All the levels feature a 100-second time limit, and they also don't have checkpoints, so the game is just much faster paced than Mario U, and also a much quicker speedrun. In addition to that, Luigi's physics are different than Mario's. I'm going to have a higher jump in this game, but I'm also going to slip and slide around a lot more. So that's kind of the background on this game. I'll go ahead and get started with the run. The timing starts when Luigi moves here on the world map to 1-1. And in this first level, I'm going to be picking up the most important power-up of the run. And this is the Acorn Suit. The Acorn Suit allows me to do a lot of special moves. This one's the Glide, this is the Spin Jump, and I won't be showing it off in this level, but there's another one called the Fly, where you essentially get a boost to give you some extra height. In addition to that, the Acorn Suit also lets you cling onto walls for a pretty long time, and all of these things are going to be really useful throughout the run. So for this next level, I'm going to be playing as a different character. So I held ZL when I entered the level, and this lets me play as a Nabbit. And Nabbit is invincible. With that being said, I'm going to be picking up an invincibility star here, which might seem completely useless, but the invincibility star actually increases my running speed by a lot. So even though I had to go out of my way to grab it, it was well worth the time I spent. Now that jump I made at the end of the level is actually pretty tight. But that's kind of the main reason I do this level as Nabbit. As Luigi, to make it over that section, I would have had to do a glide. And when you glide with the star, you actually lose speed. And so, by doing it as Nabbit, I can't glide. I don't have an Acorn power-up, so I don't lose any speed. So, speaking of Nabbit, although Nabbit can't get hit, he can still die. So at the end of that level, right, I had to jump over that big pit. If I had fallen in, I still would have taken a death. And that goes for hitting lava as well. If I hit lava at any point, I'll die. So I will try to avoid those two things, because if I do die as Nabbit, I will still lose my power-up as Luigi. The game treats it as if you died as Luigi, if you take a death as Nabbit, so I will still very much try to avoid that. So the one optimization of this level is I'm going to use these currents from these pipes in order to push me forward. And at the end of the level also, I try to enter that pipe in the center in order to get a faster pipe animation, and then I use those blue pipes at the end as slopes to slide down. Anytime I can slide down a gradual slope, I'm going to do it. It will save a couple frames. It's not like a gigantic time save, but I try to go for every little thing that I can. This run is pretty optimized at this point, so I want to go for all the time saves. So now we're going to get this text about the Miiverse. The Miiverse obviously no longer exists, but there's no way to skip the text. It was removed in the Switch version of the game, but it's still here on the Wii U. And after the Miiverse text, the game is going to ask if I want to save. And I'm going to tap no, of course, because that's faster. But that brings me to what controller I am using. So I am using a gamepad, and the only reason for that is for the save prompts, because I can literally just tap no when it asks me to save, instead of pressing left to arrow over to no and then pressing A. That's the only reason I use a gamepad. So yeah, it barely saves any time. So we're going into World 5 now. First level is 5-1, and 5-1 features vines. And the important thing about vines is that you get an increased speed when you're on them. And normally when you jump off of them, you would just lose that extra speed. But if you let go of the D-pad right after, you actually keep that extra speed. So that's what I'm doing right now. It might not seem super noticeable, but it saves a lot of time throughout the whole level. And now at the end, I'm actually going to chain that additional speed by bouncing off of all those enemies to just keep it all the way to the flagpole. It saves about 3 seconds throughout the entire level, and given how short these levels are, that's quite a lot of time. So, while we have a cutscene here, this is a really good time to talk about flagpoles and flagpole animations. So, the upcoming level 5-3 is pretty much the same speed whether you do it as Luigi or Nabbit. However, the rule of thumb for this game is if you can do a level as either Luigi or Nabbit and it's the same speed, do it as Nabbit. And the reason for that is not because Nabbit is easier all the time, because he isn't always easier, but it's because of flagpole animations. The animation of Nabbit jumping off the flagpole is about 0.3 seconds faster than the animation of Luigi jumping on the flagpole. Why? I have no idea. It just is. But it's only faster if you face left before hitting the flagpole. And to make it even weirder, that doesn't work if you triple jump into the flagpole. So yeah, those are just the things to keep in mind when running this game. They're pretty simple though. So I'm going to be doing a very big skip in this next level 5 tower. This is definitely the hardest skip of the run. We call this left side because we're scaling up the left side of the tower and we're skipping a 30-second auto-scroller. So this is pretty huge. I'm going to be quiet while I attempt it. Okay, that was very good. And then for this door here, I was going to try to enter with the side of Luigi touching the middle. That's the most optimal way to enter these red tower doors. It gives you an animation of Luigi instantly walking in rather than slowly walking to the middle and then walking in. But it's not too big of a deal. So for this boss fight, I'm going to look at the ground for a visual cue, this crack on the ground. I'm going to do a full jump, and that's going to let me land right on his head. And now as soon as he finishes his head shaking is when I do a short jump on him. And that's going to let me optimally do the boss. And I know that level was pretty optimal because I got a 177 on the in-game timer, which is pretty good. So now we're done with the first tower, and we're going to be heading into a section, I call it the Haunted Forest. This section's a lot harder in other categories, like 100%. In this category, it's only 2 levels, and it's really easy. So yeah, not too big of a deal. The next level, 5 Ghost House. I'm going to be grabbing a star, again. This one saves like even less time. So if you're not good at grabbing this one, it's not really even worth the time that it takes to get. But yeah, if you can do it optimally, it does save a little bit of time. And then at the end of this level, there's going to be a different kind of door. So the one we just saw was a tower door. But this one's just a regular door. And I'm going to do pretty much the same thing here. I'm going to try to enter it at the middle. You can be slightly off in the middle and still get the fast animation. So that's what happened there. It's actually optimal to be slightly left of the middle. So that was pretty good. So yeah, there's 3 kinds of doors, basically. There's tower doors, castle doors, and regular doors. So we've seen tower and regular. Castle will be coming up in a little bit, and those are special, and I'll explain it when we get to it. But first we have an auto-scroller, right before we get into World 7. Yet another case of, you know, this level's, it's an auto-scroller, so it's going to be the same speed as either character, but we're going to use Nabbit to save that little bit of time at the flagpole. I don't remember if I said it already, but the time save that you get is about 0.3 seconds over Luigi. So it's not like a gigantic amount, but with the amount of flagpoles that you can do that at, it is a lot of time. At least in the context of an any percent run, which is so optimized. The one strat that I guess that I'm going to be doing in this level, if you see those P-switches, if you hit them, you change the music. So I'm going to be trying to avoid all of them, and the reason for that is because I want the music to be at the same spot every time when I reach the end. So if I tried to just jump for the flagpole at the end by hugging the right side of the screen, I would actually just kind of get bounced away. So I need to time it. And the way I time it is by using a music cue. So that's why I don't want to hit any of the P-switches. Oh, and I messed it up. But yeah, that's just a nice little strat that you can do there for the auto-scroller. So like I said, there's some cases where you would think Nabbit's always easier, but Nabbit is not always easier, and this level right here, 7-1, is a perfect example of that. Because Nabbit doesn't have access to all of those moves of the Acorn suit, you have to be very good at platforming in order to get through this level with Nabbit quickly. So I'm just going to be quiet and do that. Alright, we made it to the end. That last jump especially is very tight, but luckily there's a very easy way to save it if you don't make it. And like I said, if I die as Nabbit, I will lose my power-up as Luigi. That's a level where I could see that happening in a marathon run. However, the very next level, 7-2, has an Acorn power-up in it, so it wouldn't be a big deal at all. A couple of the other levels I've done already have also had extra Acorn power-ups. 5 Secret had one as well, 5 Ghost House, 5 Tower. I chose to go to 5-3, but if I had to, I could go to 5-2, which is barely any slower, and that has an Acorn. There's a lot of options. And at every flagpole, as Luigi, if you hit it when the digits are 77, you actually get an extra Acorn in your inventory. That does lose time, so I'll try to avoid doing that. But it is like a viable backup strategy. So there's a lot of safety strategies for this run, so I'm not too worried about doing a no reset. So 7 Tower, big run killer. This level features Fire Bros. Fire Bros move around randomly and throw their fireballs randomly. So I get to deal with that. Oops. No big deal. Oops. Okay. Just glad I didn't get hit. Because I really want to keep my Acorn for the upcoming boss fight. So the upcoming boss is against Kamek. And Kamek spawns randomly, and he also spawns a random block pattern. And the blocks are what you use to get to him. So overall, just a lot of randomness in this fight, given that you have to hit him 3 times. But having the Acorn makes it a lot easier because you can just stay in the air by using the glide and the fly moves. However, you have to still kind of take some guesses as to where he's going to pop up. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully I get some good luck here. Okay, so after the first 2 hits, he always goes to the top middle like that. If you let him get away from there, then, well, he just goes somewhere random. But yeah, that was a very good Kamek fight. I can promise that Kamek does not always look like that. That was very good luck, but I'm really happy with that. But if I do get bad luck, it's not too difficult to back up. And if I happen to get hit, there's a very easy backup acorn in the next level. Very easy and quick backup acorn in the next level. But I don't have to do that. I didn't get hit. So I can just do the normal strat here. Which is cool because the normal strat is pretty sick. So I'm going to be grabbing another star. This one saves the least amount of time in the whole run, but it's probably the coolest looking in my opinion. Okay, so right here at the end of the level, I'm going to be doing something that Super Mario Bros. 1 fans might think is pretty cool. At the flagpole, just watch for it. Yeah, so you can clip into the base of the flagpole in this game. It doesn't actually save any time technically. Something that does save time, however, is spin jumping into a flagpole. So when you spin jump, or not spin jumping into a flagpole, but spin jumping into a flagpole with the star. So if you spin jump when you have the star active, your hitbox increases slightly to the right. So you hit the flagpole slightly earlier. So that saves time, but that's also the reason that that glitch works in the first place, is because if you do it at the very bottom, you just clip into the flagpole, despite being in front of the base of it. So yeah, just some fun facts there, and fun little glitch to show off. So this level's cool. I'm going to basically be manipulating my movement right here in order to load these fire bars at the end at a certain time. So I have this all timed out so that I can just jump through them. Now that's the first and only castle door. I try to enter that at exactly the middle because if I don't, I get a slower door entry animation. You have to enter that pixel perfectly in the middle in order to get the fastest one. It's not my favorite thing in the world, especially for like a 100% run where you got a bunch of those doors. For any percent, it's only one door, so I guess it's not that bad. So this guy, normally he would like go up to the top and he spawns like 2 clones of himself, and you have to guess which is the real one. And it's actually random, but there's a way to tell which is the real one. You can just fly up to him and hit him. That fly move is so powerful. So yeah, I don't even have to worry about that. So just like that, we're done with World 7 Castle. But there's actually one more level in World 7. Secret level here. It's going to be the airship. And the concept of this airship is there's this giant Bowser hand that's trying to crush you. And I think the beginning is like an auto-scroller. We don't even see that at all. So I'm going to be doing a skip, as I do. And this is probably the easiest skip in the run. Like, if you're looking to learn a skip from this game, try this one out. This one's really easy. So yeah, I'll show that now. The one optimization, I can run along that cloud a little bit at the beginning, because the cloud is moving to the right, and that saves a little bit of time. But yeah, that's the skip. That's a pretty long, like, auto-scroller too, so it saves a lot of time. So coming up is the fight against Bowser Jr. This fight's gonna look really weird. It's gonna look like I'm waiting like multiple seconds too long to try to hit him. But this guy, the way his hitbox is really strange. Like, you cannot hurt him for a really long time. Or like at the start of the fight, you can hurt him immediately, but after that, the timing on it is very strange. So I'm gonna have to wait. Like, he was out for multiple seconds there. So the way you can tell you do those hits perfectly is if his clown card doesn't even start moving again. And so yeah, that's exactly what happened there. Those are pretty much perfect hits. So I'm very happy with that. Yeah, when I have like uploaded my speedruns of this game, I've gotten the same question a couple times. It's like, why did you wait like several seconds too long to hit Bowser Jr.? Couldn't you save a bunch of time there? But Unfortunately, you can't, so that would just lead to you getting hit if you tried to land on him then. Right now is definitely a time where I would hand it over to the host in a marathon for some like announcement reading or something. You got like a minute of cutscenes here. But yeah, we are done with World 7, going into the final world of the run. That's pretty cool. I hope if you've watched this far, you're enjoying the run. And the next level is actually going to be our last use of Nabbit unless anything goes horribly wrong. So that's pretty cool. 8-1. There is actually a little bit to talk about with 8-1. 8-1 features meteors. And meteors normally, like, they're a little bit random, but it's usually not really anything important. But because the secret exit in this level requires me to wait for meteors to break away some blocks, I actually have to rely on meteor RNG. So I think there's technically like 4 different patterns you can get, but like 2 of them are the same speed and then the other 2 are the same speed or something like that. So it's basically you either get a fast pattern or a slow pattern is what it boils down to. But then the difference between the 2 is only about 1.2 seconds. So it's not like that much. For any other category of this game, it doesn't matter. So I got a fast pattern there. So that was good. But of course, like I said, any percent is very optimized, so you really want to get that fast pattern. You can technically still squeak a world record at this point with the slow one, but the rest of your run would have to be extremely good. So now we're going into 8-4. This is a very cool level. This features cycles of these appearing and disappearing blocks. So if I mess up at all, I'm going to just have to adapt to whatever cycle I'm on. That movement right there is pretty tight, so I'm glad I was able to get that. And then again, crouch jumping into the pipe to save a little bit of time. There I tried to wall kick off of the pipe as it spit me out. Unfortunately failed it, but that doesn't really save or lose that much time. It's the only opportunity to do that in the any percent run. That's a strat you see more in longer categories. But wall jumping gets you to full speed faster than just running. Speaking of things that get you to full speed faster, at the start of this level I do a quick jump and then glide. That's called a fast acceleration. Again, you would see that more in longer categories. And that's also a little bit faster than just running. So I just skipped the first part of this elevator auto-scroller, and now I'm going to skip the second part, but this one features a much tighter jump. So let's see if I get it. Alright, the hitbox on that shockwave thing is not as big as it looks, but I was still pretty dang close to hitting it. Alright, so we're into the final castle now. So the final castle features, again, Bowser Jr. in his clown car, but this time he's just trying to smash you into the lava. The interesting thing about Bowser Jr. is that his movement actually depends on your movement. So if I make any mistake here, it's really anyone's guess what he's going to do. So hopefully I don't mess up, but what I'm going to try to do is actually use the acorn to cling onto the side of his car and have him push me forward. But just like that. So that was very good. We're not quite done with Bowser Jr. yet. I guess that this door right here is actually a unique one, but it acts exactly like a tower door. You just want your character to be touching the center. So anyway, we're going into the final boss now. These fireballs here are the same every time, pretty easy to jump through, and this final set you can actually jump over it and glide. So now we're in the final boss. Very, very difficult boss. You have to press the B button, and that's it. So that's the first phase. I guess kind of a reference to the older Super Mario Bros. Games. I'm gonna pull my laptop a little closer to me to do the final split, so that's just why I'm doing that. So now we're coming up on the final phase. This one's a lot more interesting, I promise. This is gonna be the giant Bowser fight. And there's a couple interesting strats that I'm gonna be doing on this fight. So the first one is called Fireball Skip. At the start of the fight, Bowser normally shoots 2 fireballs, but you can actually skip the second one. Saves, I think, 3 or 4 seconds, and basically the way I do that is by flying right up in his face right as he's about to spit that out. Just another example of the flying move coming in clutch. You don't see it too much in any percent, but in the other categories it's very powerful. And then the other move that the other strat that I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be trying to keep Bowser in the middle of the arena. And that'll make more sense in just 1 second once I get there. So yeah, flying up to skip the fireball. Okay. So I need to make sure I hit Bowser Jr. before going into this clown car so he doesn't steal it back from me. Now I'm going to manipulate Bowser to stay in the middle of the arena. For whatever reason, that skips a second jump that he would normally do. And then again, keep him in the middle. And the time ends on the 3rd hit here. Oh, we're coming up on that. That was a very good run for a GDQ submission. That was a 26:03, only pretty much exactly 5 seconds off the world record for any percent. So I'm super happy with that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you've watched all the way through this run, I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to show this game off at GDQ. I've been running it for about 3 years. But most actively in the last year or so. I've been playing this game almost every day, so I did get the chance to show the 100% category of this game off on the GDQ hotfix before, but I would love to show off, really, of course, any category of this game on the main GDQ stage. So yeah, again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the run. Goodbye!